The crack slams through the courtroom, and the pitchers jump like startled fish. Judge Halvorsen said, "Order," but the word feels like a threat. The gallery exhales in fear, and stale coffee scents the air. On the stand, Mara Kelley swallows lightning and tries not to shake. She was an Olympic sweetheart once, and now she is a defendant with a ruined smile. Prosecutor Dana Pierce said, "Answer the question," and the syllables scrape. Mara hears a storm inside her ribs, and it beats louder than the gavel. Liam Rourke said, "Counsel is badgering," while his jaw tightens into iron. A juror drops a styrofoam cup, and the spill crawls toward the aisle like a black tide. Noah Briggs stops his pen and stares as if truth is a photograph he can steal. The witness mic pops and Mara flinches. She tastes old victories and new shame. She wants air. She wants her daughter's voice. She wants time to run backward. Dana said, "Did you call Vincent Crane?" And the name makes the ceiling lower. Mara said, "I wanted the bleeding to stop." Silence grows teeth and waits. The bailiff's boots thud, and the room resets like a wound rewrapped. Liam Rourke said, "We take a breath," and Mara hears the word like a rope lowered into a pit. Her chest burns with old medals and new headlines. She remembers a finish line that felt like flight, and the cameras loved her then. Now, the same lenses gleam like knives. Dana Pierce said, "Counsel, keep your client focused," and Mara feels the leash tug. She swallows the taste of sponsors and endorsements that vanished overnight. Evelyn Hart studies her with a nurse's patience and a mother's worry. Noah Briggs scratches a phrase that could sell, then crosses it out like a bruise. Judge Halvorsen watches without blinking. "I owned." He knows what fame does to a person and what ruin does after. Mara said, "I called him because no one else picked up." Liam nods and lets it stand. The gallery leans closer. The rain thickens against the windows. The name Vincent Crane sits between them like a switchblade waiting to be opened. The court reporter's keys chatter like teeth, and the record becomes a net. Mara feels every word catch and pull. Liam Rourke said, "Tell them the call was about fear," and she hears her own pulse measuring courage in crumbs. Dana Pierce said, "Fear of exposure," and her smile is clinical. Mara tries to remember the message she left on Vincent Crane's phone. She remembers a hallway full of mirrors, and none of them forgiving. Noah Briggs said, "What did she mean by bleeding?" under his breath and ink smears. Evelyn Hart hears the word and thinks of triage and hidden wounds. Judge Halvorsen said, "Proceed," and the clock seems to nod. Mara said, "He cleansed messes for a price," and the gallery stiffens at the vulgar honesty. Liam watches the jury absorb that shape of truth. Dana said, "Did he clean yours?" and ends the question without air. The rain on the windows begins to sound like clapping. Mara keeps her eyes forward. She refuses to blink first. A low rumble moves through the gallery like weather changing. Liam Rourke said, "You paid the retainer because you were afraid for your child," and the sentence lands like a hand on a fuse. Mara sees her daughter's backpack by a door, and the zipper half open. Dana Pierce said, "Your fear does not absolve conspiracy," and she flips a tab in the binder. Judge Halvorsen watches their cadence for knives. Or Evelyn Hart leans back and inhales through her nose, searching for fairness in the static. Noah Briggs sketches the word fixer in block letters, then circles it like a storm. Mara said, "I asked him to stop the leaks and the threats, and the word threats vibrates." Liam said, "From whom?" And Mara's answer is a cliff. She said, "From the people who win if I break." The bailiff shifts and the holster squeaks. The room feels like a sealed jar. Rain drums harder. The past feels close enough to taste. The clerk rustles an exhibit and the sound startles the silence. Liam Rourke said, "We move to strike the last insinuation," and his voice threads through tension like a needle. Dana Pierce said, "The insinuation is the case," and she lifts a printed transcript. It shows a late-night voicemail, and the timestamp glows like a bruise. Mara feels the room tilt toward the page. Judge Halvorsen said, "Admitted for now," and the words drop like weights. Evelyn Hart wonders what fear sounds like in the dark. Noah Briggs whispers into his recorder, then stares at Mara as if the lens could comfort. Mara said, "I was begging him to stop the whisper campaign," and the confession sits upright. Liam nods once as if to say, "We own this." Dana said, "And did Vincent Crane answer?" And the name feels colder each time. Outside, thunder presses its palm against the glass. Inside, everyone waits for the door to open. The rain outside thickens until the courthouse windows blur, as if even the sky does not want to see. Liam Rourke said, "We push back now," and his jaw locks like a vault. Dana Pierce flips through her binder with surgical grace, each page a blade. Mara Kelley stares at her trembling hands, remembering the gold medal ribbon she once clutched, now replaced by a defense exhibit tag. Judge Halvorsen said, "Proceed with care," though his tone carries warning. Evelyn Hart shifts in her seat, whispering to herself as if trying to reconcile lies with duty. Noah Briggs presses his recorder closer to catch every syllable, sweat streaking his temple. Dana said, "Ms. Kelley, you claim fear, but isn't it true you plan to weaponize the fixer?" The question cuts air like wire. Mara lifts her head, a flicker of fire despite the fog in her chest. She said, "I plan to survive." The gallery murmurs, like storm surf against walls. The stakes pull tighter, every breath a gamble, every answer a crack in the dam. The stenographer's keys rattle, and Mara hears her fate written in real time. Liam Rourke said, "The fixer is no ally, he is a shadow pulled into light." His words weave a net. Dana Pierce counters, "And your client reached for that shadow willingly." Mara closes her eyes for half a heartbeat, and in that blink sees her daughter waiting with questions too large to answer. Judge Halvorsen frowns, his gavel hand restless. Evelyn Hart chews the inside of her cheek, her eyes fixed on Mara's face. Noah Briggs scratches the word survival in his notes, bold and underlined. The gallery stiffens when Dana holds up a receipt, a transfer slip inked with Mara's name. She said, "Tell us again, this wasn't payment for silence." Mara's throat burns. She said, "It was payment for peace." Her voice echoes sharper than she meant. Liam nods slowly, owning the silence that follows. The storm rattles glass, demanding to be heard. Inside, tension hangs like a noose, ready to tighten. The receipt lingers in air like evidence carved from stone. Liam Rourke said, "A number without context is smoke without fire." Dana Pierce said, "But smoke means something burned." Mara grips the table edge, nails pressing crescents into wood. Judge Halvorsen leans forward, brows dark thunder. Evelyn Hart whispers, "Could be anything," though doubt laces her tone. Noah Briggs sketches a headline in the margin. Olympic darling buys silence. The gallery hums, voices hushed but sharp. Dana continues, "Vincent Crane doesn't sell peace, he sells leverage." The words make Mara's stomach twist. She said, "I bought protection from vultures, not favors." Liam steadies her with a subtle touch on her sleeve. Judge Halvorsen said, "Counsel, stay tethered to relevance." Dana smirks, satisfied she's planted suspicion. Mara's mind races back to a call in the dead of night, Vincent's gravel voice saying, "You pay, you breathe." She feels the echo in her bones. The storm hammers glass, matching her pulse. The bailiff coughs, a sharp break in the air. Liam Rourke said, "We remind the court the prosecution twists fear into guilt." Dana Pierce fires back, "Fear does not explain strategic payments." Mara stares at the transcript in front of her, the black ink taunting. Evelyn Hart adjusts her glasses, her brow knitting into a private storm. Noah Briggs leans closer to the rail, breath shallow, notebook nearly full. Judge Halvorsen taps his gavel once, the sound hollow as a coffin. The gallery leans forward, one collective heartbeat. Mara said, "I was hunted. You call it strategy, I call it survival." Her words sharpen like glass breaking. Dana's smile falters, but only for a breath. Liam said, "The law must weigh truth, not assumptions." Silence swells heavy and unrelenting. Outside, thunder cracks close rattling frames. Mara presses her palms together as though trying to hold herself intact. Everyone else sees a defendant. She feels like prey in a cage. The storm outside surges as if echoing the conflict inside. Dana Pierce said, "You don't hire Vincent Crane without knowing his trade." Her tone coils like a snake. Liam Rourke said, "And what trade is that, Miss Pierce?" His question fires like a challenge. Mara's chest tightens, waiting. Evelyn Hart tilts her head, struck by the venom in Dana's words. Noah Briggs scribbles, "Fixer or executioner?" across his page. Judge Halvorson clears his throat, the sound rough as stones scraping. Mara finally said, "He fixes what's broken even when it should stay shattered." The gallery gasps, whispers surging like bees. Dana seizes it. "So you admit you knew what he was?" Mara exhales through her nose, eyes defiant. Liam rises, commanding the room with presence. He said, "My client admits she sought survival, not corruption." The silence is a blade edge. The storm slams thunder against the courthouse, as though demanding a verdict now. Everyone waits, but nothing resolves. Not yet. The courtroom air sharpens as Dana Pierce lays down a sealed envelope with deliberate care, its paper whisper louder than thunder outside. Liam Rourke said, "State the purpose," his eyes narrowing like shutters against a storm. Judge Halvorson leans forward, suspicion thickening the air. Mara Kelley stares, sensing the envelope is a coffin waiting to open. Dana said, "Newly surfaced correspondence," and slides it into evidence. Noah Briggs cranes his neck, pen scratching like a blade. Evelyn Hart murmurs a prayer under her breath, lips tight. The bailiff rips the seal, producing a letterhead embossed with gold. Dana reads, "My dearest Mara, the truth of us cannot stay hidden forever." The gallery gasps, whispers rippling like waves against glass. Mara's breath cuts short, her past burns across her cheeks. Liam said, "This is inadmissible slander," but his tone quivers with unease. Judge Halvorson said, "Proceed." The word falls like a sentence itself. Mara's secret affair is dragged bleeding into light. Every pair of eyes turns to her. The letter trembles in Dana's hand, not from weakness but from weaponization. She said, "A relationship between defendant and Vincent Crane." Mara's pulse thrums, her mouth desert dry. Liam Rourke erupts, "Objection, relevance." Judge Halvorson's gavel snaps, "Overruled, continue." The gallery leans like predators circling scent. Evelyn Hart fidgets, her conscience sparking against the chain of evidence. Noah Briggs whispers, "Affair with the fixer," and scribbles it like breaking news. Mara whispers to Liam, "It wasn't like that." Her voice cracks, a fragment of desperation slipping out. Dana reads aloud another line, "You said you trusted me with your soul." Liam grips the table, as if to keep the world anchored. Judge Halvorson exhales sharply, hiding disgust. Mara said, "I needed him, not like that, not love, but leverage." Her words break under weight. Dana smiles, the predator satisfied. Outside, lightning slashes the horizon. Inside, reputations collapse, one letter at a time. The gallery hum swells, as if the walls themselves gossip. Dana Pierce said, "Your words betray you." Mara shakes her head, vision blurring. Liam Rourke said, "The letter is fabricated, though doubt shadows his tone." Judge Halvorson said, "We will authenticate," his gavel a dull thud. Evelyn Hart's heart pounds, her fingers tracing the grain of the juror's rail. Noah Briggs scribbles a headline, "From witness to lover." Mara said, "It was desperation. He promised silence for my daughter's safety." Her voice trembles with truth wrapped in shame. Dana snaps, "You confess knowledge of his crimes." Liam objects again, voice booming, mischaracterization. The bailiff shushes the gallery, but whispers crawl through anyway. Rain streaks harder, drumming like judgment on glass. Judge Halvorson's gaze holds Mara captive. She feels her old victories turn to dust. Her past, her secret, her fear now glow under courtroom light. There is no retreat, only exposure. The bailiff lays the letter on the evidence screen, its words projected for all to see. Dana Pierce said, "The court deserves honesty, not disguise." Mara watches her privacy dissected in sterile font. Liam Rourke said, "This crosses into character assassination." But his protest wilts. Judge Halvorson rubs his temple, weary but unmoved. Evelyn Hart inhales sharply, eyes flicking between Mara and the page. Noah Briggs mutters, "Career suicide," as his pen carves deeper. The gallery ripples with whispers of betrayal and scandal. Mara said, "He twisted my words. He made them chains." Her voice falters. Dana counters, "Or you twisted truth into plea." Lightning flashes, casting harsh light through glass, bleaching faces, ghost white. The silence is louder than argument. Liam presses Mara's shoulder, grounding her against collapse. Judge Halvorson finally says, "The truth, however ugly, belongs here." Mara feels stripped, her soul naked in a courtroom of wolves. The silence breaks with Dana Pierce's voice, sharp as a blade. She said, "This letter proves complicity." Mara steadies herself, jaw hardening despite tears. Liam Rourke said, "No, it proves coercion, defiant but strained." Judge Halvorson's gavel strikes. The jury will decide. Evelyn Hart exhales, palms sweating against the armrest. Whammed. Noah Briggs whispers, "This will bury her," into his recorder. The gallery murmurs louder, hungry for downfall. Mara said, "I trusted the wrong man. That is my crime." Her words echo, tragic confession without admission. Dana smirks, satisfied the seed of guilt is sown. "Oh." Liam places both hands on the table, his posture unyielding. Lightning flashes again, thunder rolling through rafters like a drumbeat. Judge Halvorson calls for recess, but no one exhales relief. Mara's name, her body, her past, all now tethered to scandal. The storm outside mirrors the storm within. Act 3 ends with everything they thought true collapsing into rubble. The courtroom doors creak open, and silence ripples like a warning through the gallery. Vincent Crane enters, his shadow arriving before him. Judge Halvorson said, "Mr. Crane, take the stand," and the words hang like an execution order. Crane, male 58, trench coat, discarded, black suit pressed, eyes dark as oil, walks with the calm of a man who thrives in storms. Mara Kelley grips her chair, bile rising with memory. Liam Rourke said, "We object to this circus, but his protest feels fragile." Dana Pierce smirks, the predator seeing her star witness arrive. Evelyn Hart folds her hands, but her pulse betrays her composure. Noah Briggs leans forward whispering, the fixer himself into his recorder. Crane settles into the witness stand with a smile that holds no warmth. He said, "Ask me anything. I know more than any of you dare." The gallery gasps as though the devil has joined the trial. Rain outside hammers harder, like applause for his entrance. Vincent Crane leans into the microphone, voice velvet over steel. He said, "Everyone in this room owes me something." The gallery stirs like prey sensing the predator. Dana Pierce said, "Tell the court about Ms. Kelley." Crane grins, "She came to me broken, and I stitched her lies into safety." Mara's breath catches, cheeks blazing with shame. Liam Rourke rises. "Objection, character destruction." Judge Halvorson's gavel snaps, overruled. Continue. Evelyn Hart's brow furrows, the words staining her conscience. Noah Briggs scribbles wildly, the fixer's web. Crane continues, She begged me to erase debts and silence whispers. His words slide like venom. Mara shakes her head, tears prickling. She said, I begged for protection, not corruption. The gallery gasps, whispers roaring under the storm's echo. Dana's eyes glint, her web tightens. The fixer owns the air. Every word is another knot tied around Mara's neck. The fixer's voice weaves a dangerous lullaby. He said, without me, she would have drowned in her scandals. Mara's shoulders tense, anger sparking beneath humiliation. Liam Rourke said, this man profits from fear, not facts. Dana Pierce counters, yet fear drives truth into the open. Judge Halvorson drums fingers, trying to pierce through smoke and poison. Evelyn Hart shifts, her eyes locked on Crane as if hypnotized. Noah Briggs whispers, he owns the room, his recorder trembling in his hand. Mara said, you twisted my plea for help into currency. Crane smirks, and you paid gladly. The gallery shivers at his ease, as though crime were just another trade. Thunder shakes the walls, rattling stained glass high above. Crane adjusts his cufflinks, unbothered. Liam leans toward Mara and mutters, we'll cut him down piece by piece. But even his voice carries doubt. The fixer's shadow swallows the court. Dana Pierce said, Mr. Crane, did Miss Kelley confide her secrets? Crane's lips curl, every one of them. People bleed honesty when desperate. Mara stiffens, fists pressed against her knees. Liam Rourke said, this man spins stories for profit. Judge Halvorson watches, eyes narrowing, but his silence gives space for venom to spread. Evelyn Hart leans forward, breath shallow, heart racing at every revelation. Noah Briggs whispers, he's dismantling her, his pen a blur. Crane adds, she spoke of enemies in her own family, people who'd rather see her ruined. The gallery erupts in murmurs, the storm outside pounding louder. Mara blurts, you're lying. You bend truth until it breaks. Crane tilts his head, mocking calm. Dana Pierce smiles. So truth and lies intertwine. Liam steadies Mara with a hand, his face grim. The fixer smiles wider. Each word carves deeper, making survival feel smaller. The storm crashes like a drumline. As Crane's words settle, he said, without me, this trial would never exist. I am the spine of your case. Dana Pierce beams, and we thank you. Liam Rourke snarls, a spine of rot. Judge Halvorson bangs his gavel, order. But the gallery's voices rise, wild with shock. Evelyn Hart clutches her rail as if drowning in revelation. Noah Briggs mutters, history is being written, his recorder trembling. Mara Kelley lifts her chin, fire returning. She said, you think you own my story, but I won't let you. Crane chuckles, low and dangerous. We'll see. Lightning flashes so bright the room becomes a negative photograph. Everyone frozen in stark relief. Then darkness returns, heavy with dread. The fixer smiles, calm amid chaos, his influence undeniable. The web tightens. Mara is trapped, but her resolve sharpens into steel. Act 4 ends with shadow and defiance, colliding under storm. The courtroom doors creak open and silence, ripples like a warning through the gallery. Vincent Crane enters, his shadow arriving before him. Judge Halvorson said, Mr. Crane, take the stand, and the words hang like an execution order. Crane, male 58, trench coat discarded, black suit pressed, eyes dark as oil, walks with the calm of a man who thrives in storms. Mara Kelley grips her chair, bile rising with memory. Liam Rourke said, we object to this circus, but his protest feels fragile. Dana Pierce smirks, the predator seeing her star witness arrive. Evelyn Hart folds her hands, but her pulse betrays her composure. Noah Briggs leans forward, whispering, the fixer himself, into his recorder. Crane settles into the witness stand with a smile that holds no warmth. He said, ask me anything. I know more than any of you dare. The gallery gasps as though the devil has joined the trial. Rain outside hammers harder, like applause for his entrance. Vincent Crane leans into the microphone, voice velvet over steel. He said, "Everyone in this room owes me something." The gallery stirs like prey sensing the predator. Dana Pierce said, "Tell the court about Ms. Kelley." Crane grins. "She came to me broken, and I stitched her lies into safety." Mara's breath catches, cheeks blazing with shame. Liam Rourke rises. Objection, character destruction. Judge Halvorson's gavel snaps. Overruled. Continue. Evelyn Hart's brow furrows, the words staining her conscience. Noah Briggs scribbles wildly, "The fixer's web." Crane continues, "She begged me to erase debts and silence whispers." His words slide like venom. Mara shakes her head, tears prickling. She said, "I begged for protection, not corruption." The gallery gasps, whispers roaring under the storm's echo. Dana's eyes glint, her web tightens. Fixer owns the air. Every word is another knot tied around Mara's neck. The fixer's voice weaves a dangerous lullaby. He said, "Without me, she would have drowned in her scandals." Mara's shoulders tense, anger sparking beneath humiliation. Liam Rourke said, "This man profits from fear, not facts." Dana Pierce counters, yet fear drives truth into the open. Judge Halvorson drums fingers, trying to pierce through smoke and poison. Evelyn Hart shifts, her eyes locked on Crane as if hypnotized. Noah Briggs whispers, "He owns the room," his recorder trembling in his hand. Mara said, "You twisted my plea for help into currency." Crane smirks, "And you paid gladly." The gallery shivers at his ease, as though crime were just another trade. Thunder shakes the walls, rattling stained glass high above. Crane adjusts his cufflinks. Unbothered. Liam leans toward Mara and mutters, "We'll cut him down piece by piece." But even his voice carries doubt. The fixer's shadow swallows the court. Dana Pierce said, "Mr. Crane, did Miss Kelley confide her secrets?" Crane's lips curl, every one of them. People bleed honesty when desperate. Mara stiffens, fists pressed against her knees. Liam Rourke said, "This man spins stories for profit." Judge Halvorson watches, eyes narrowing, but his silence gives space for venom to spread. Evelyn Hart leans forward, breath shallow, heart racing at every revelation. Noah Briggs whispers, "He's dismantling her," his pen a blur. Crane adds, "She spoke of enemies in her own family, people who'd rather see her ruin." The gallery erupts in murmurs, the storm outside pounding louder. Mara blurts, "You're lying. You bend truth until it breaks." Crane tilts his head, mocking calm. Dana Pierce smiles, "So truth and lies intertwine." Liam steadies Mara with a hand, his face grim. The fixer smiles wider. Each word carves deeper, making survival feel smaller. The storm crashes like a drumline as Crane's words settle. He said, "Without me, this trial would never exist. I am the spine of your case." Dana Pierce beams, "And we thank you." Liam Rourke snarls, "A spine of rot." Judge Halvorson bangs his gavel, "Order!" But the gallery's voices rise, wild with shock. Evelyn Hart clutches her rail as if drowning in revelation. And Noah Briggs mutters, "History is being written," his recorder trembling. Mara Kelley lifts her chin, fire returning. She said, "You think you own my story, but I won't let you." Crane chuckles low and dangerous, "We'll see." Lightning flashes so bright, the room becomes a negative photograph, everyone frozen in stark relief. Then darkness returns, heavy with dread. The fixer smiles, calm amid chaos, his influence undeniable. The web tightens. Mara is trapped, but her resolve sharpens into steel. Act 4 ends with shadow and defiance colliding under storm. The jury files back into the box, shoes whispering against wood, faces carved in stone. Judge Halvorson said, "Has the jury reached a verdict?" Evelyn Hart nods, eyes heavy with conflict. Mara Kelley's chest tightens. hands clasped so hard her knuckles blanch. Liam Rourke leans toward her, whispering, "Whatever comes, you don't break." Dana Pierce folds her arms, confidence radiating like armor. Vincent Crane smirks faintly, already savoring the chaos his presence ignited. Noah Briggs raises his recorder, whispering, "This is history." The foreman, male 54, clears his throat, voice brittle. He said, "We have, Your Honor." Silence spreads like smoke. Mara's heartbeat becomes the loudest sound in her world. The gallery shifts, breaths sharp and shallow. Rain outside slows, a softer rhythm against glass, as if nature itself waits. The gavel waits too, suspended. Mara exhales, whispering, "Please," though no one hears. The verdict is ready, and so is ruin. The foreman holds the slip of paper, hands trembling just enough for the jury to notice. He said, "On the charge of conspiracy," and the gallery leans forward in a collective breath. Mara closes her eyes, jaw tight, her world balanced on syllables. Liam Rourke said softly, "Hold steady," though his throat strains. Dana Pierce leans in, hungry for the words. Evelyn Hart keeps her gaze down, ashamed of the choice she helped shape. Noah Briggs scribbles furiously. Verdict begins. Crane sits still, his smirk unchanged, as if no outcome could touch him. Judge Halvorson's brow furrows, the gavel lowered slowly. The foreman continues, "We find the defendant." And every face freezes, suspended in stormlight and shadow. Mara whispers to herself, "Not guilty, not guilty," like a prayer. The sound of her own voice anchors her, fragile but real. Time bends, waiting for the final blow. The foreman exhales, then says, "Guilty." The word detonates like thunder inside stone walls. The gallery erupts, gasps and shouts crashing together. Mara's eyes fly open, her breath stolen. Liam Rourke rises instantly, voice booming, motion for mistrial. His fury shakes the table. Dana Pierce smiles, cold triumph blazing in her eyes. Evelyn Hart flinches, her heart cracking as guilt anchors in her chest. Noah Briggs whispers, "The fall is complete," his recorder capturing tragedy. Crane's smirk spreads, his silence mocking the chaos. Judge Halvorson slams the gavel, "Order, order in this court." The sound barely dents the roar. Mara shakes her head, whispering, "No, no," tears streaking across her face. Her daughter's face flashes in her mind, innocence threatened by scandal. Liam grips her arm, "We fight this." The storm outside returns, thunder rolling like applause. Inside, her world collapses beneath a single word. The gavel finally tames the room, but the air is scorched with aftermath. Judge Halvorson said, "Sentencing to follow." His tone is iron, no softness left. Mara collapses into her chair, her body trembling, tears streaking across her suit. Liam Rourke bends close, whispering, "We appeal, I swear." His face burns with fury, but his grip is steady. Dana Pierce collects her files, her victory efficient, clinical, heart untouched. Vincent Crane reclines slightly, his shadow stretching long, savoring devastation. Evelyn Hart presses a hand to her chest, regret drowning her eyes. Noah Briggs mutters, "From gold medalist to convict," his pen relentless. The gallery simmers with divided voices, some calling justice, others betrayal. Mara whispers, "I've taken everything," her voice hollow. Liam said, "Not everything, not yet." But even he feels the fight narrowing. The storm outside eases, the rain thinning, as if the world tires of bearing witness. The jury files out, their faces ghostly under waning light. Judge Halvorson bangs the gavel one last time, court adjourned until sentencing. His voice echoes like a door slamming shut. Mara rises slowly, legs unsteady, eyes glazed with shock. Liam steadies her, whispering, "This isn't the end." But her silence speaks louder than words. Dana Pierce strides out, heels clicking, victory trailing behind like perfume. Vincent Crane follows, hands in pockets, his smirk lingering in every shadow. Evelyn Hart lingers in the box, eyes locked on Mara, guilt branding her soul. Noah Briggs lowers his recorder, whispering, "The story isn't over." The gallery disperses in murmurs, voices colliding like distant thunder. Mara said softly, "They saw a monster, not me," her voice fractured. Liam said, "Then we show them." The courthouse doors groan as the storm fades, leaving silence heavier than rain. Act 6 ends with defeat, sharpened into fragile resolve. The courthouse empties, but Mara Kelley remains seated, the wood of the defense table pressing into her palms like punishment. Liam Rourke said, "We'll fight," but his words feel thinner than the air. Dana Pierce's laughter echoes faintly down the marble hall, polished and victorious. Vincent Crane lingers near the door, his silhouette calm, like a shadow waiting to follow her into ruin. Evelyn Hart pauses at the jury box, eyes hollow, as though she has swallowed her own guilt whole. Noah Briggs whispers into his recorder, "The fall of a national hero. The price of secrets." Mara said softly, "They saw what he made of me, not who I was." Her voice cracks into the silence. Liam grips her shoulder, eyes fierce, "Then make them see who you are." Outside, the storm has passed, leaving streets wet and shining with cold light. The trial is over, but its aftermath has just begun. Mara steps into the hallway, marble echoing her every footstep. The press surges like a tide, flashes searing her eyes. Reporters shout, "Guilty, what now?" Noah Briggs raises his mic above the crowd, but his face is softer than the others. Liam Rourke shields her with his body, snapping, "No comment." Dana Pierce glides past, her smile a dagger offered to every camera. Vincent Crane lingers at the far wall, phone in hand, nodding to someone unseen. Evelyn Hart slips away quietly, unable to face the cameras. Mara whispers to herself, "They'll never let me breathe." Liam said, "Then we fight for air." The storm's remnants drip through skylights, streaking shadows onto marble. The verdict has followed her beyond the courtroom, a brand burned into her skin. Every camera flash feels like fire. The crowd presses closer, hungry for pieces of her. Mara straightens her spine and steps forward. Night settles heavy as Mara and Liam exit to the courthouse steps. And rain glistens on stone, street lamps casting halos in puddles. Protesters shout on one side, "Justice served." Others chant, "She's innocent." Voices collide, a war of belief. Mara stares at the sky, her breath fogging in cold air. Liam said, "This is only chapter 1. His voice steady, though fatigue shows. Dana Pierce descends another staircase, waving to cameras like a queen. Crane's car idles at the curb, tinted windows hiding promises and threats. Evelyn Hart stands apart, her umbrella sagging, tears streaking unseen in the dark. Noah Briggs whispers to his recorder, "The story ends, or begins, here." Mara finally said, "They wanted to bury me. Let them watch me climb out." Her eyes catch the street lamps, fire sparking in defeat's ashes. The storm is gone, but the battlefield remains. Later, in the quiet of Liam's office, the storm of the courthouse fades into tense stillness. Papers scatter across the desk, evidence and transcripts now corpses of a lost war. Mara said, "It feels like the truth died with the verdict." Her eyes are hollow, hands trembling around a coffee mug untouched. Liam leans across the desk, fierce determination burning. "Then we resurrect it." The lamp glows amber, casting half their faces in shadow, half in light. Evelyn Hart's voice echoes in Mara's memory, her hesitation haunting. Crane's smirk drifts back, the promise of more poison waiting. Dana's words replay sharp and unyielding. "Unwall." Noah Briggs sits in the corner chair, recorder off, saying softly, "I don't believe the story's done." Mara exhales, her shoulders finally straightening. She whispers, "Neither do I." The silence grows heavier, But this time it feels like armor, not a cage. A plan is forming. The final scene drifts into dawn, city skyline washed pale by first light. Mara stands alone at her apartment window, wrapped in a coat, hair unkempt, face raw with exhaustion. The city moves below, indifferent to her ruin. She whispers, "They think I'm finished." Her breath fogs the glass, dissolving quickly. Behind her, a folder of evidence rests on the table, pages that might still shift fate. Liam's words echo in her head. We show them. Evelyn's regret haunts, Dana's triumph lingers, Crane's shadow waits. Noah's quiet promise circles back. The story isn't over. Mara presses her palm to the glass, the skyline reflecting in her eyes. She whispers again, stronger this time, "I'm not finished." The world won't hear it yet, but the vow burns. The camera lingers on her silhouette, fragile yet unyielding. The verdict ended the trial, but the war has just begun.